Hello, good afternoon. Hereby I would like to make a short presentation of some of the results of our recent EU-funded social dialogue project with the topic Enhancing the Effectiveness of Social Dialogue Articulation in Europe. By articulation, we mean how are the EU-level social dialogue related to the social dialogue at national level in the EU member countries, how these two levels interacts, how topics of social dialogues, let's say about working conditions, skills, or something else, how they move between these two different levels. The project had a larger quantitative survey across the different EU member states. But in addition to this, we also conducted interviews with social partners, employee organizations, and trade unions in different EU member states, and in particular in 4 different sectors. At the moment, I talk the results of these 2 sectors, education and health, that have also quite strong representation of public sector institutions. So it's quite logical to talk about these 2 sectors together. Our sectoral case studies were conducted in 6 different EU member states. These are Portugal, Ireland, France, Slovakia, Estonia, Sweden, representing both small and large countries, old and new EU member states. Countries with very different social models and tradition of social dialogues. On the other hand, Sweden, the country is probably the best, most well-established social dialogue with long traditions. And on the other hand, some Eastern EU member states, like Slovakia and Estonia, where social partners are a lot weaker. In our interviews with sectoral social partners, we asked their opinion about different topics. For instance, which topics are of priority for them in social dialogue? So we can see quite strong sector-specific issues, the same topics being important in different countries, like in education, wages of teachers, working time, working conditions more generally, aging population. On the other hand, in health, again, topics like working time, night work, for instance, wages, labor shortages. The latter being, for instance, due to the outward migration of doctors in Eastern European member states, and on the other hand, also population aging, causing the aging of doctors. The second topics that we asked about social partners was about articulation of sector-specific priorities at the national level. How the topics or issues relevant for social partners, particular sectors, in our case, education, health, how easy or how possible is to get these topics into the agenda at the national level in the EU member states. And in some countries we can see actually quite successful cases, like in Ireland or in Sweden. For instance, in Sweden in 2016, there was a successful tripartite agreement that led to the increase of wages in Sweden. On the other hand, there are also not so successful cases, like Slovakia, where fragmentation of social partner organization has led to less efficient social dialogue. Next, we asked about the effectiveness of social dialogue. How are the general developments? Which are actually quite different member states. We see positive developments in some countries, like Estonia, that traditionally has not so strong social partners. But during the last 3 years, 2015 to 2017, there have been actually some positive developments. Maybe also thanks to help from European Union, help with capacity building, maybe also some effect from Estonian presidency of the European Union, leading to stronger involvement of Estonian social partners in EU-level social dialogue. On the other hand, some other countries, like France, that has had traditionally much stronger traditional social dialogue, saw recently some not so good development. Also, in some countries, like in Portugal, it was indicated that more evidence-based argumentation, data analysis would strengthen the social dialogue and would equip social partners with arguments. Next, we asked about the involvement of social partners in EU-level social dialogue. In these 2 sectors, education and health, actually almost all countries' social partners are involved in EU-level social dialogue. But there are also quite different opinions as to the benefit of participating in EU-level social dialogue. For instance, in some countries like Estonia, not with so strong tradition of social dialogue, the benefits were seen. For instance, in health sector, participation in EU-level social dialogue helps to increase social partners' power in domestic policy discussions. On the other hand, countries like Sweden, with much stronger social dialogue, their partners see some problems in EU-level social dialogue. They argue that maybe education, that's a national issue, not an EU-level issue, so it should be rather kept to the national level. And there are some warnings against EU-level solutions, like one-size-fits-all solutions. A bit similar opinions were also opinioned, in addition to Sweden, in France. Next, we also asked, what are the various impediments that social partners are facing in participating in EU-level social dialogue? Naturally, in Eastern European countries, Slovakia and Estonia, there is a limited capacity and ability of social partners. Limited personnel also, financial resources. And all this condition, it seems sometimes that national level social dialogue is more of a higher priority than EU level of social dialogue. There are some differences across different EU member states. For instance, in Ireland, both trade unions and employee organizations participated in EU level social dialogue. But in Slovakia, on the other hand, only trade unions, but not employers. We already said that in countries with more developed social dialogue, like in Sweden, countries are a little bit more critical to EU-level agreements, especially to binding agreements, that perhaps these are not needed, or maybe they would even undermine local agreements. But again, some sector specificities. For instance, in Sweden, in health sector, there were not such concerns because the planned directives in EU level are actually already being considered at the Swedish level legislation. The last question is, what can be done to promote EU level social dialogue? And naturally, capacity building of local social partners is important. As that has been especially reported in our interviews at the EU level, but also in the countries with more developed social dialogue as Sweden, where social partners said that capacity building in countries with not so strong social partners, like Eastern European countries, is needed to make EU level social dialogue more effective. So these are shortly some of the main highlights of our interviews with social partners in education and health in 6 different countries. Naturally, that is only a very short summary of some of the highlights of some of the keywords. So for more information, you can look on the national reports, but also our cross-country policy brief. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.